Hey everybody, it's me, your boy Conan. It's been quite a while. How you doing? Last, year, wow, we screwed up the sub-job quest and had to hire the services of a Galkin to demonstrate the proper way of doing it. It's a really shit video. Since then, I've been grinding up White Mage so I can get these out quicker.
It, worked out great.
That's gonna be the last mention of the gap between uploads. With all that out of the way, we're tackling the rank 2 missions this episode, so let's up the guard and get going. Our first mission sends us back to Latienne Plateau, where we're to meet a band of Temple Knights and help out with the rescue drill. Since there's a fair amount of distance between here and there, I figured now would be as good a time as any to get into the details of my favorite mechanic in this game, the sub-job system. In Xanadu, adventurers can take on 2 jobs, a main job, Black Mage in my case, as well as a sub-job, which for me is a White Mage. The main job is exactly what it says on the tin. It's your traditional character class that you'd see in any other type of role-playing game. It's a kit of stats, traits, abilities, and spells that you have at your disposal. A sub-job is an additional class, though its overall power pales in comparison compared to your main job. Overall, though, it includes extra stats, abilities, spells, so on. So again, using myself as an example, I'm a Black Mage with access to white magic like Cure and Protect. What a sub-job doesn't include is the big ability that each job has, or a 2-hour, which is usually referred to in FF11. You also do not get access to equipment that your sub-job can, but your main job cannot equip. There are further limitations. Traditionally, sub-jobs can only reach half of your current main job's level, rounded down. So, we're level 20 and my sub-job is level 10. But say I were level 99, the level cap, my sub-job would only be 49. And for the last 20 years, that's exactly how it's always been. However, since 2021, Square Enix has implemented a new system for players to increase their endgame character's power outside of just gear. Master levels. Look, I know about merits and stuff, but we're not getting into that right now. Master levels allow players to grind out even more progression to push their sub-job past the old cap. I'm not gonna state what the cap is, because it isn't necessarily as important as the fact that this system exists. Plus, I mean, like, who knows how many extra levels players are gonna be able to attain, seeing as how it's increased, like, a few times since its implementation, and 7 times since I've tried making this fucking video. The important thing is that, for the moment anyway, it's really opening up the meta and shaking things up. It also gives Marks new things to talk about in the trade chat. I really quite like the sub-job system, as it's fairly open-ended. Players are given a pool of 22 jobs to mix and match, and that can lead to some very interesting combinations. Like, say you were playing a red mage, but you wanted to take advantage of a thief's treasure hunter ability, well, you can do that. Or say you wanted to play a ninja who tames wild beasts. It's a little unorthodox, but you can sub in Beastmaster. Now, you're free to mix and match till your heart's content, but not all combinations are made equal. I'm not gonna get too much out of maining Black Mage and subbing Samurai, so, you know, there goes my dream of role-playing a Discord mod self-image.
A scholar can study damn near anything, but not the blade.
But I mean, if you're just bumbling about by yourself, why not experiment with some, like, off-meta combinations? Like, honestly, like, what's the worst that's gonna happen to you? But is Ruamoko, famous lore master and guide maker, gonna stab you in the kidney and steal your wife? No, because he's from New Zealand, and they're very chill people. Well, I'm sure he's very nice. I mean, like, if you're asking to, like, join somebody else's party, they might raise an eyebrow and tell you to get right, and, you know, fair enough, it's part of group play, but again, by yourself, it's pretty open-ended and it's pretty awesome. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. We're at the plateau now, the knights are over here at this chasm. We arrive, and lo and behold, there's some problems. As it turns out, one of the knights playing the role of their rescuee has gone missing, which would make this an actual rescue mission. Which you would think wouldn't matter all that much, but you would be incorrect. The knights are completely perplexed as to what to do next, and it seems up to me to retrieve them. Oh, sure, I mean, like, some of these layabouts put on a show of trying to find their companion, but they're mostly just standing in place and recycling the same dialogue. Either they don't really care too much about their missing knight, or this order is grossly incompetent. And since I have to pay auction house taxes, I'm really hoping it's the former. Traveling further into the chasm, we come into the mouth of... Ordell's caves are dark, dank, and windy, and it's full of monsters, so watch your step out there. Huh, look, a friendly face. Hey buddy, you see a knight around here? Yeah, gee, thanks. Turns out our missing knight is hiding behind a rock at the cave entrance that I just walked through. So good! He's not lost! Mission successful, right? Wrong. Turns out Buddy here ran away from some bees. Gee, I sure hope that we aren't going to be embroiled in the middle of a really tough conflict soon with the state of these fucking knights! And dropped his sword while seeking refuge. I foolishly assumed he dropped it somewhere in this cave. I strongly suggest that you do not make this mistake. The sword, as it turns out, is in the hands of this gentleman. I also tried to tell the knights that their buddy was huddled up in a cave pissing himself, but they don't really seem to care that much. We hand the knight his blade and, mission accomplished. Whatever. Back to Sandy. Back at Sandy, I grabbed the second mission. We're to send a message to a party of knights scouting the orc stronghold of Devoy. Devoy? Devoy. It's written Devoy, but even that's a little bit too French for me. Technically, I don't really need to do this mission. If I wanted to skip to mission 3, all I would have to do is slip the guard a few crack crystals and raise my rank points. However, since I'm doing this tour of Xanadu, I figure I might as well show you as many of these missions as possible. To get to these scouts, we're gonna have to trek through Latien once again and into a new zone. Jugner Forest. Jugner Forest? Wow, this joke's already old. Jugner Forest is filled with tigers, shrooms, and as one could expect of an area near an orcish stronghold, sheep. Oh, and orcs. The fighting isn't so tough here. I've got quite a few spells that hinder my enemies. Status effects are rather powerful in this game. It's hard for your enemy to hit you if they can't see you. Want to make it even harder on them? Why not slap a dot on them that lowers their vitality? The only thing really bottlenecking my progress through zones now is my rather shallow MP pool. I thought that subbing White Mage would help alleviate this, however the effects are rather negligible, and I'll likely have to switch to a different caster class in the near future. A few rests and smoldering orc corpses later, Exemil and I reach the gates of Devoy. The scout isn't too far, and he reminds me of another idiot I've had the displeasure of meeting today. Hey, you got some mail. As it turns out, the orcs are amassing a large force, though the scout isn't entirely certain as to why. I mean, they're orcs, and far from friendly. I don't really think we need to rack our brains on this, but you do you, fam. Before I can go, he tells me that he would really like me to bring a report to the prince. However, there is a page missing. The page was dropped during a night attack, and now there's an uncomfortable amount of orcs in this area. The knight would totally retrieve it himself, honest. He swears! But I mean, there's this burly adventurer here now, and he can bail him out. Me? The page was dropped near the crucifixion mound. Charming. I'm really not entirely certain which is more dismaying about my current predicament. The fact that the orcs have a crucifixion mound, or that Sindoria's military is very, very reliant on adventurers. I mean, it's not like I'm anybody special, right? Like, I also regularly get my ass kicked by bees. I mean, maybe that's why they're relying on, like, myself and other adventurers, because, I mean, like, if you think about it, it probably takes years and tons of gil to train up a fighting force, and, you know, and you don't really want to waste anybody, right? Like, every soldier is super valuable. You've invested too much into them, but over here on the streets is, like, a massed horde of murderous hobos who will, like, send an entire village of people who look at them funny to their early graves just for, like, +2 socks. I mean, and if you think about it, like, it's a win-win scenario, because, like, at best, they get the job done, and you just throw them, like, 15 gil and, like, a rabbit carcass, and they're pretty pleased with that, and I mean, like, at worst, they die, they fail, and you just send, like, they're a dime a dozen. You can't swing a stick in any of the major cities without hitting one of these assholes. The street's just gonna get cleaner and cleaner the more of them die! It's probably best if I don't think about it too much. Well, since I can't go back with only a partial report, I suppose there's no sense in waiting. Okay, I'm just gonna inch along here and... shit, I think he spotted me. Yep, he did. Okay, alright, take 2. Let's get Exemil out, since you can't summon trust while you're in the middle of combat. This must be the mound. Wicked. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. I've had enough of this place. Here's your page. Now you can send your report. Yeah, don't worry about it, dude. Have fun sticking around here. The prince is somewhere in this grand cathedral. Heading upstairs, I overhear the Pabst, the prince talking about the orcs and the gates of paradise, which seems well above my pay grade. They don't even like me being here. Like His Holiness is like, get out of here! And then like the prince is like, whatever the hell he says. I don't even think I'm getting paid for this. Our final mission is a little different. For starters, it's considerably more involved. First and foremost, we have to go to the Chateau de Orgy and meet up with Alver. I'm calling him Halver. I'm pretty sure everybody else does. He has an open call out to local adventurers. No, we're not doing that gag again. It's not like I have anything better going on here, so here we are. Halver needs somebody to do some grunt work at the embassies located at the other two major powers in Xanadu. With Beastman activity on the rise throughout the world, it wouldn't hurt to grab some intel on our fellow members in the global community. Which is actually a nice change of pace compared to the last job, where I was out in the middle of nowhere trying not to get crucified. Our two destinations are both quite far from Sandoria, but the Republic of Bastok is at least on the same continent, Quan. So we'll head there first. Since this will be quite the hike, the Royal Sandorian Guild of Historians have prepared this short film in order to provide the right context as to why the kingdom reaching out to its two rivals is kind of a big deal. Bastok and Sandy especially don't like each other, having warred in the past. Two of those wars ending in a pitched battle in the Kronstadt Highlands. The last battle in the Highlands ended in a particularly rough defeat for the kingdom, which is a particularly sore wound for Elvon pride. Moving on from the Highlands, we hit the two Gustaberg zones. They're the best Stoken equivalent of Ronfar. Instead of the nice forest, they have a blasted wasteland. And they don't suffer from orcs so much as the Quadav, big bulky turtle men. Lots of lizards too. One of them's even famous. I quite enjoy the song here in this zone. Sadly, our time in Gustaberg is going to be rather short, so no time to see the sights. Though I have no doubt in like an RP sense, Conan would hate being in Bastok as a loyal subject of the crown. I personally, as a player, love Bastok. I love its look, I love its song, even the layout. It was the first place in Xanadu I ever saw with my own two eyes. It was also the first place in Xanadu I ever saw when I finally got a chance to play this game. It's where my main's home is, and kind of where mine is, too. The embassy that we're going to is on top of the metalworks, so let's head there. The council and her aide have got me caught up on local news. Bastok has its own flavor of Beastman trouble. Even to the point of losing territory, the Palborough mines to the Quadav. My mission is fairly simple. Infiltrate the mines and snatch myself a bit of mithril. This job is actually kind of a ruse to cover up my actual task, which is to scout around and report on any technology the Republic has kept secret from the rest of the world. We got caught with our pants down with that whole invention of gunpowder thing, and the crowd is not letting the humans get a second chance at that. Now, you may think that it's a little bit sneaky, a little bit duplicitous, possibly dishonorable for a nation as great as Sandoria to offer aid with one hand and poke around the drawers of its rival in the other. But I, for one, believe that, in order to gain access to the mines, we need permission. Yo, you the round ear I have to talk to? Yeah, I don't like you either. Spy? What an interesting assumption. I'm gonna head out to that mine now. Here's hoping that Sandoria is very lenient with incompetent agents. In my haste to get the hell out of there and not blow my cover, I went to Palborough Mines without buying a map. This will turn out to be a rather stupid blunder. And that's because the mines are a twisting multi-level maze of a zone without a map. Which, given the task at hand, find some ore in some place and grind it into sand with a machine somewhere else in the mine, this is going to be a bit of a problem. I could go back in town and simply just buy a map, but it took a while getting out here, and I mean, I'm here now. How long could it possibly take? I'll spare you the details, but I probably bumblefucked around here for quite a while. You see, it wasn't just that I had to get from A to B and back to town, but I also had to contend with some rather grumpy turtlemen in search of this mining node, including this big boy, Kuvo Death Hurler. a notorious monster. Notorious monsters, or NMs, are just named monsters who are considerably tougher than their contemporaries, usually with some interesting items in their loot table. Sometimes. They also have a few different ways of spawning into the zone, some requiring items to be used in specific locations or showing up at a particular spot at a particular time. Some of them I think even need the right weather condition to appear. Kubo didn't really drop me anything of note, any of the 3 times I killed him. But that's okay, because like drop rates in this game are on a spectrum to, holy crap, please stop giving me this, and I don't even think that item is real. Okay, here's the mining node. Gathering in this game is a little obtuse, but not overly difficult. Step 1, target the node. Step 2, open a trade window with the node. Step 3, trade the appropriate gathering tool with the node, and voila. Oh boy, this could take a while. Oh, never mind, this node is exhausted. Alright, I'm gonna drop this whole dopey act because I planned out this whole big bit of like going like, oh gee, I don't know where the hell to go in this mine, but like looking back at it and the old editing thing, it's just bloated, and this video is a mess in terms of pacing as it is, so I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm doing wrong. The answer is actually right behind this node. I'm really questioning that whole no guide ethos that I've been trying to go through this whole journey with. And yeah, there we go. Ore in hand, we have to find the machine and then head downstairs to nab the sand. We drop the sand off and engage in a little Elevon Pride, and it's off to the Federation of Windurst. Our journey to Windurst truly begins with the port town of Selbina, where we will wait for a boat. 1 ticket, please. This ship here will take us across the ocean to the continent of Mindardia, and it's one of the many things that really makes me wish I played this game when it was a little bit more active. Something that I really find cool about FF11 is that traveling is a really big part of the adventuring itself. Getting from point A to point B, and making sure you have everything prepared, and making sure you got your party going, like everything about it just seems really, really awesome. And this instance ship was probably a really, really cool hub for people in the server. The boat ride takes roughly 15 minutes, so you know, you got a lot of time to make some new friends, sit around, shoot the shit, maybe even form a party. Traveling is something I don't really find a lot of newer MMOs really take any stock in, which is a real shame because an adventure doesn't have to just be a quest or a big boss. It's a, you know, journey, not destination, you know? That said, I'm not completely blind to why newer, faster ways of getting around exist. It takes a considerable amount of time just walking from Sandoria to Windurst, and if a player dies and can't get raised, it's back to your home crystal, which is not only irritating for the new corpse, but also the other 5 people in his party if he wasn't careful about setting his home point crystal. Even FF11 has made more modern concessions with like crystal warping, and no doubt it's great for the players at endgame and just grinding out for their gear, but for a tourist like me, it does kind of make Vanadil feel a little bit lonely. This got weirdly melancholy. Oh look, there's a little Windurst model over there. We land in Mara, but we ain't sticking around. We're not going straight to Windurst either, though. We're a little weaker than I'd like to be for what's coming up ahead, so it's time to get some grinding done. During the course of this grinding, my client crashed while killing these leeches, and when I logged back in, I saw this sitting in my inventory. A Carbuncle's Ruby. An important item if we want to unlock the Summoner class. Super cool, but not something I can really capitalize on for the time being. And here we are, in the Federation of Windurst, homeland of the Tarutarus and the Mithra. It's a chill little town with a chill little theme song. It's also quite long and sprawling, which can make getting around a little tedious. Not quite sure what the deal is with these automatons, but hey, they look neat. There's the embassy. Let's get our new job. A giant monster has appeared in the place known as Gideus, a borderland of the Yaguda. The Yaguda are the little bird-like beastmen that are in a state of relative peace with the Windurstians. The Federation would like to take this beast down, and I'm the guy to do it, it seems. Which, hey, I'll take it, since I'm not fumbling about in those fucking mines. We need a key to gain access to Gideus, and in order to do that, we have to go to this big tree, Heaven's Tower. There's also, somewhere, 2 Tarus are talking about another Taru's magical research. I was gonna do this whole, like, voice acting thing, but all the Tarus speak in a kind of goofed up way, but each one has, like, a unique goofed up way, like, look at this dude, he adds ethy as a suffix to some words, and this guy's just straight up Ned Flanders. Once their chat is over, you'd think you get to play the game again, but you'd be incorrect, because now there's another cutscene. This is Shantoto. There's a mild chance that even if you've never played Final Fantasy XI, you've seen her before. Square Enix uses her as a sort of representative of this game. Dissidia, Theat Rhythm, trading cards, she's everywhere. Her weird Taru vocal tick is that she speaks in rhyme, which I can only imagine would bother the hell out of everyone around her, but she's also like this mad wizard of enormous power, so nobody's gonna grab her by the shoulder and say like, hey, cut that out. She's screwing around with some research and falls into this pod. After some undisclosed amount of time passes, we see her and some underlings sporting some very sharp Hugo Boss uniforms. This game took a weird turn. Speaking of, this game's now resumed, so you can play the video game now. Not that I want to tangent off of this tangent, but the brief interruption was to kind of emulate the mildly frustrating nature of playing Final Fantasy XI. There's been 2 decades of expansions and content updates, and as a result, the game every so often just stops you to let you know about it. Which is fine. It's nice that not all the added content is just for high-level players, but if you're playing this for the first time and just wandering around and the game just slaps the keyboard out of your hand, and you have no idea what any of this is, or how urgent it is, or really how to look into any of this content, if you're not playing like I am, I really suggest they use the BG Wiki, just to kind of get a better sense of everything that's going on. I don't know, like, it's fine that the game does this every so often, it's just, it feels a little clumsy sometimes. Entering Heaven's Tower, we're given the key to Gideus by this very nice lady.
Here is the key you'll need to get into the deeper, weeper parts of the Wagudo's dwellings. Gideus is a scary, wary place you'll never...
It's like an entire nation of uwu shit posters, which if you know the history of the Tarus is kind of frightening because they used to run this bitch. Gideus is the holy place for the Yagudo with a few pitfall traps, which I won't be showing off. Not because I'm some sort of navigational wizard, but because I happen to get very, very lucky. Dark key in hand, we delve deeper into the recesses of the zone. For the sake of your sanity, I suggest you use this home point crystal just in case you meet an untimely end with what's to come. Stepping up to the dais, we happen upon somebody else dealing with the so-called ferocious monster haunting this place. This creature is apparently trying to, well, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what he wants. He says he's trying to rally the various Beastman tribes to wage another crystal war. That part I get, but like, why spread rumors about himself and draw others here? If he's working in the shadows, why not just operate in the shadows and strike while your enemy is unaware of your presence? These questions for the time being won't be answered as this flying gonad summons forth a dragon. The Mithril lady engages, then sees us and goes, this guy's got it. Which is a certain level of confidence I certainly don't share. Nah, don't stick around and help out. Best of luck with those more, pressing matters. Well, I guess it's up to me and Examil. Luckily, I've done this fight before on my main, so I have a pretty good idea of how I'm gonna tackle it. Alright, you're sitting down, here's the plan. We sleep the dragon, and bash the gonad, then turn our attention back to the dragon. It's simple, but there is a hitch. Fail to sleep the dragon, we're probably gonna have to do this all over again. Luckily, black mages have an ability that raises the accuracy of your next spell, so here goes nothing. Turns out I can spam magic a little bit more than I anticipated, and the battle is kind of easily won, so woo, go us. Searcher here can't believe just how hard he got stomped, and honestly, I agree, I've died like twice to bats, so felling a dragon's kind of a big step for me. This red-haired woman shows up, saying that this dragon is a special sort of beast, one that's not been seen since the Shadow Lord was defeated and sealed away. Sounds like some heavy stuff. Searcher says he's an emissary of this Shadow Lord, making preparations for his return, which, look, I'm no historian, but that sounds pretty bad. Lion here is distressed that a new war is likely coming and tells me to go and report what happened here back home, but hey, don't need to tell me twice, lady. Last thing I need to do is get caught up in a war. Reporting at the embassy, I was kind of hoping that I'd get like a pat on the back, like, wow, you killed a dragon, and don't worry about sending the report, you can go like fish or something, but no, I have to go back and report to Halver, so here we go. There's no time to waste.
Nice dissolve.
After mulling over the report, Halver is quite unnerved, and then he pulls this. If this report is true, we must take action, but to be honest, I find it hard to believe. So I guess there's nothing to worry about. All this globetrotting is tucking me out, so it's time to take a break. I'll see you next time. Hopefully soon.